Ali taking you through some of the things people are talking about and some other stuff they're sharing around the world on Newsfeed today. The virus of fake news spreads online as IRL. The coronavirus infects more and more people. The longest internet shutdown ever in Kashmir continues, but some 301 sites have been made available on 2G connections. What did the comedian say to the journalist to get him banned from airlines in India? We'll go to New Delhi to tell you. And a place in space could be yours if you can afford the rent. That's top of our newsfeed, the coronavirus and fake news. As more and more cases of the deadly pneumonia-like illness are confirmed around the world, there's been an increase in the volume of fake news and misinformation about it. Here's Adama.
As the coronavirus continues to spread, so too has the misinformation about it. This YouTube video shows travel blogger Wang Mengyan eating bat soup. It was resurfaced when the coronavirus was first reported, with people claiming it was connected to the outbreak. It was used to suggest Chinese people were to blame for the virus because they eat bats. But it was fake news because it was from 2016, and it wasn't even filmed in China. Then there's this video on Facebook, viewed more than 88,000 times. It suggests the virus began at a market in Wuhan. But the AFP news agency says the footage actually shows Langowan market in northern Indonesia. Every event has its conspiracy theory, and the coronavirus is no different. Multiple Facebook and Twitter posts claim the US Centers for Disease Control and Prevention created it on purpose. The posts include patents to substantiate the claims, but these patents are related to efforts made by scientists in creating a vaccine for avian infectious bronchitis. On Wednesday, Australian scientists said they had created what they believed was the first lab-grown strain of coronavirus outside of China. And then there is the advice about possible cures. Posts on Weibo, Twitter and Facebook allege Chinese respiratory expert Chong Nanshan advising people to use salt water as a disinfectant. Not only have the WHO debunked this, Nanshan's team has denied that was the advice he gave in the video. On Saturday, a whistleblower video showing what looks like a nurse in Hubei has been making the rounds online. There have been different versions. The most popular one was on YouTube, but has now been taken down. In it, the unidentified woman makes a number of unproven statements, such as there being 90,000 confirmed cases, but official figures say there are almost 6,000 cases. 80 confirmed cases are outside of China, such as in the UAE, Germany, the US, Australia, Singapore, Nepal, France, Vietnam, and Thailand. And these are just the ones we know of.
Here are some other things that caught our eye on social media. Well, this video has been watched more than 1 million times. It shows some people who describe themselves as fans of Manchester United Football Club throwing a flare into the grounds of the home of Ed Woodward. He's the United executive chairman. These fans also chant, "Ed Woodward is going to die." Now, neither he nor his wife or children were at home at the time. Now, some people blame Ed Woodward for United not playing as well as they used to. And 8 of the most annoying people on the planet have been a top trend. Hashtag BTS X Corden has been used a staggering number of times in the past 24 hours, more than 2.5 million and counting. It's because the Korean boy band were on the Late Late Show in America. And this footage of the Oral Valley fire has been shared widely. It's a time-lapse over a few hours and was shot in the southern suburbs of the Australian capital, Canberra. It's said to be the worst bushfire that the city has faced since 2003. It's also the worst fire season the whole country has faced ever. Well, next, Faisal takes a look at the internet shutdown in Kashmir, a shutdown which keeps breaking its own record for longevity.
There are more than 1.5 billion websites on the internet, but in India-administered Kashmir, only 301 can be accessed. And that's because of the latest rules imposed on the region by New Delhi. You see, Kashmir has endured the world's longest internet shutdown, 176 days and counting. Kashmir is beating its own record set back in 2016. Now, 5 months later, the Indian state has issued orders to restore 2G internet access, but only to the 301 whitelisted websites, including mailing clients, banking websites, and video streaming websites. So that's something, but makes it impossible to Netflix and chill on 2G speeds. Oh, and social media continues to be banned. Internet shutdowns cost India more than $1 billion last year. Earlier this January, India's Supreme Court, castigating the government, said suspension of free movement, internet and basic freedoms cannot be an arbitrary exercise of power. While restrictions continue, Kashmiris are slowly getting onto the internet through VPNs, which helps them bypass the state's firewall. Although the authorities have clamped down on VPNs, blocking 11 so far, Kashmiris are finding new ones. And the news of which ones are working has become a closely guarded secret. If you know, you know. This means resourceful Kashmiris are finding ways to keep telling their stories about life within the shutdown through a digital game of cat and mouse with the powers that be.
Well, now to India, where Nia has a fascinating story about how the efforts by a comedian to call out a journalist for his nationalistic, divisive rhetoric ended in the journalists being banned from a number of airlines. Here she is to explain.
I'm standing outside the office of Republic TV, one of the most watched television networks in India, and the reason why this channel is so famous is because of this man.
Keep quiet. Understand? When you're spoken to, when I tell you to keep quiet, be quiet.
Why?
Don't open your mouth.
Why?
Quiet.
Who are you?
Because you've spoken too much.
Who are you?
Who the hell are you? Who the hell are you to do this to my country?
Arnab Goswami is a pro-government right-wing nationalist anchor who's often known to yell and shout at his panelists during debates. Recently on a flight where he was on, a passenger quite literally turned the tables on him.
He's not ready to answer my question, viewers. Viewers today want to know if Arnab is a coward or a nationalist. Arnab, this is for national interest.
That's Kunal Kamra, a well-known comedian in India, and he put out that video that's now gone viral. While there were many who lauded what he did, there was also significant backlash, including from the government. The Civil Aviation Minister also calling on airlines to boycott him, and that's essentially what's happened. In an unprecedented move, airlines have closed ranks and boycotted Kunal Kamra. At last count, you had 4 airlines, including state carrier Air India. Now, Kunal Kamra put out a statement saying that he wouldn't apologize for what he did because he simply turned the tables on Arnab Goswami and gave him the same treatment that his reporters are often known to give to people they interview. There are many people who are siding with Kunal Kamra and criticizing the government for putting tacit pressure on airlines. You've got this Twitter user saying, will they start banning people for their political views next? Service providers have a duty towards the public at large. Acting as agents of a political party must come at a price. You've also got the hashtag boycott Indigo, the first airline to boycott the comedian, trending on Twitter as well, with Twitter users saying things like this: can we all boycott Indigo for 6 months because the airlines is against freedom of speech while on board? But there were many others who also sided with the Civil Aviation Minister and criticized the comedian for what he did, saying that heckling people on an airline is just not done. You've got Ashok Pandit saying Kunal Kamra is a threat to all co-passengers of an aircraft, hence I request all other airlines should ban him as well. The debate surrounding this issue, whether what Kunal Kamra did was right or wrong, is perhaps as fiery as the debates we've seen on Mr. Arnab Goswami's shows themselves, but this meme perhaps takes the cake. take, with people referring to the fact that Arnab Goswami didn't engage with Kunal Kamra suggests that he was on flight mode, while you had Kunal Kamra going at him with all guns firing.
And of course, it was Kunal Kamra, the comedian, who was banned, not the journalist. Let's go around the world now for some other stories you need to know this Wednesday. A study has found people's dissatisfaction with democracy to be at all-time high levels. The Cambridge University for the Centre for the Future of Democracy asked 4 million people if they were satisfied with democracy in their country, and it found that 58% were not, the highest since the study was launched in 1995. A chemist in China has been fined just under $500,000 for its attempt to profit from the coronavirus outbreak. The Beijing Jimin Kangtai pharmacy was found to have raised the price of surgical masks from 143 yuan to 850 yuan. That's 6 times the price. The coronavirus is spreading around the world and has killed at least 130 people at last count. The US military has revealed how many bombs it dropped on Afghanistan last year: 7,423, and it killed 717 civilians, marking the highest number the US has dropped on the country in at least 10 years. Now, an American plane went down in Afghanistan a couple of days ago. The US says it crashed. The Taliban said they shot it down. And Americans have been lying to pollsters again by saying more of them went to the library than to the movies in 2019. The survey carried out by Gallup asked people where they went in their leisure time, and more claimed to have gone to a library than to a cinema or to a museum or casino. Now, if you've ever been to America, you'll know the suggestion that more of them went to the library than to the movies is fanciful. This song, Ode to Joy, is the European Union's anthem, and it's set to be #1 in the UK come Friday when Britain finally officially leaves the European Union. It's competing with a song by a comedian called Dominic Frisby, which is called 70 Million F-Offs, and is all about how happy some people are that Brexit is actually happening. Location, location, location. Isn't that what they say about property? Well, pretty soon, one piece of real estate will be up for grabs in a location that is literally out of this world. Last up, back to the Australian bushfires, and video of a wombat is doing the rounds on Instagram. Well, it's 2 wombats to be precise. The ABC Instagram page says it's a mother and her joey. As you can see, they are about to cross a road in a devastated area of New South Wales. There they go, little wombats. And it's good to see 1 billion animals have been killed in the fires, but these 2 have clearly survived, which is great news. Off you go, little fellas. Do you from the Newsfeed team. Reach out to me with your questions, comments, complaints and suggestions. You'll find me at Kamali Melbourne. You'll find us 24/7 on YouTube. You can subscribe to that channel and you can follow me on Twitter. Follow, subscribe and add, and I will see you again tomorrow.